going on, everybody? Welcome to the next episode of Arena Goat Talk. I'm your host, EJ Burt. Here I have the two-time Ironman of the Year, MVP, Arena Bowl champion, Hall of Famer, and there's so much more to go with it. So what's going on, Mr. Hunkie Cooper?
Peace, what's up, man? Just living a dream, man. I'm glad to be a part of your show, man. It's good to reconnect with your brother and not have you chasing me around the field. So it's a pleasure, man. Glad to be here.
Trying to chase you around the field. But yeah, appreciate you taking your time out and coming to get on and speak with me and all that stuff and kind of telling your story. I want all the guys nowadays to kind of understand the pioneers, the guys who put this game together. Like there's just not enough of hearing about you guys. And so that's kind of why I started everything, just to kind of, get you guys out there and let these people know, you ain't the first to be able to do this. Hey, man, Hunkie used to do that back in the day. Like this is my whole point. Like I want y'all stories to be told.
I appreciate it, man. And that's what it's about. It's about preservation of the game, man. But in order to preserve it, you have to have an introduction to the game. And, in arena football with us, man, we came after a group of guys, Georgia, France, and Flint Fleming, and so many other dudes, man, that had played before us, Osei Lewis, and those were guys that Mike Hohensee that built this game, and before we even knew what it was. And, as I get into my story and tell you about it, it becomes emotional for me because this game gave us an opportunity to display our talents and provide for our families. And I used to always say, man, we were the best football players in the world that weren't millionaires. And, but we impacted lives, and that's what's important to me. And I'm just a little country boy from East Texas, man, and I'm the 8th of 10 kids. My father fought in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. My mother was a maid for 30 years. And unfortunately, I lost my father at the age of 14. That's why I wore the number 14. That's when I became a man. That's when I had to start helping around the household. That's when I had to start, cutting hair and making money because we didn't have it. And so the men that came into my life were football coaches. And those guys gave me an opportunity to play a game that I loved that impacted my life. So lose my father at 14 and become a father at 18. And the coaches that came into my life were football coaches. And if I had $100 million, I couldn't repay them. So I have to serve. And I serve through the game. The game is my opportunity to give back to what people gave to me. It's about mental toughness. It's about character. It's about integrity. It's about hard work. And it's about commitment. And everybody has ability, but if you don't have accountability and availability and durability with that ability, then you just have ability. And I look at going back through the arena game and the Jay Grudens and the Orlando Predators when we came in there in 1994. I had never seen so many talented players. I had, coming from East Texas, I played football, and we played, but Florida was just as talented as Texas. And all I wanted to do was, I knew we had a great product. How can I expand it? How can I take this game from where it's at right now with the guys that are playing it? And how can I put it on a national stage? And so when all the Players Association and unions start coming about, we think about it. We were the best players in the world, and we were making $500 a game tax. I was the MVP of the league in 1993, and played 21 games, made $18,000 gross, and was happy. I was happy because I was getting the opportunity to play the game. I was getting the opportunity to get exposure, and then you meet guys like yourself, and you got guys that come along like Cy Burley, and you got you guys had Durwood Rockmore. You guys had Guy Icky. I mean, you guys had so talented guys down there, man, that Coach Moss and Danny White. And so it gave me an opportunity to be around special people that had special talents, but they cared about people. This game was never about us. It was about winning. It was about developing character, integrity, humility, and creating an opportunity in a space that we could take care of our families.
Yep. Sounds good. So I guess kind of start like, you say you're from Texas, kind of like tell everybody about coming up from Texas. Like, what was your motivation? What were you eyeing? What were some of the goals that you had, as a child?
Coming out of East Texas, man, again, in my hometown, there was 2 high schools and 6 prisons. So I know what was set up for me to be. It wasn't set up for me to be a good football player. It wasn't set up for me to get an education. It was set up for us to go to prison. and I couldn't do that. So being I started out at Trinity Valley, Henderson County Junior College as a quarterback. Man, John Randall was my roommate. And everybody knows John Randall, the Hall of Famer from Hearn, Texas, and we played football. At that time, we just played football. We got an opportunity to get an education because we could run fast and jump high. Our mother didn't have to pay for us to go to school. And so went to Trinity Valley as the first black quarterback there, and things didn't work out. When we're young, we think we know everything. So I'm telling them I'm not coming back, I'm leaving. So I left, and when I got back in the spring, I took my scholarship. I rode the bus. I rode a Trailways bus home. The school was only 31 miles from my hometown. It took 4 hours to get there on the bus because they went the long route. When I got there, my mother was at the bus stop, and that Monday I was killing cows. I killed 600 cows a day for about 6 months to raise enough money to go back to college. I walked on in Navarro Junior College in Corsicana, Texas. Became a starting quarterback. We went undefeated, won an NJCAA national championship, man, and I never looked back. I was a father at 18, put myself on child support at 18, and raised my kids. So my sons played with a guy you're going to know, Adrian Peterson. That's my little cousin. Adrian Peterson, dad, and my best friends were all from Palestine, Texas. And man, I'm in junior college struggling and going through it. My brother's my roommate, and the harder I tried, it seemed like the harder I tried, the harder it got. And right about that time, I went to question God, like, God, I'm doing everything you asked me to do. And the harder I try, the harder it becomes. And right about the time I questioned God, he revealed himself to me and told me, the times I thought he was punishing me, he was protecting me. And, sometimes the things that you want are what's best for you. And God was able to guide me through that thing. At 55 years old right now, I've never been drunk or high in my life. And I've just been a part of a game that has kept me. This game has been my everything, man. It's been my provider for my family, for my wife and my kids. It gave me an education that my mother couldn't afford, and it allowed me to educate my kids. And so after there, man, being an All-American, I went to UNLV, and I'm here now. UNLV, my alma mater. I played there from '89 to '91 with Keenan McCardle as my receiver, man, and had some great dudes. Suge Knight and those guys that just left. I was a quarterback after Randall Cunningham, and came out and I was a two-time All-American, and I played 6 positions here. I was a starting quarterback, starting corner. I played punt return, kick return. I was a two-time All-American, and I played running back, and I played slot. And so that is where my arena football abilities come from. I was playing in college, and then I played for guys like Chuck Pagano. I played for guys like Scott Linehan. I played for Tom Cable. I played for Jeff Horton. These guys are all NFL coaches and head coaches. You take ability and you put it with accountability, and a lot of good things started to happen, man. So was able to get my degree from here, finished, went to the CFL, played in BC for a little bit, come back, finished my degree up and everything. Worked in the hotel industry for a while, and a guy named Pete Catella in 1993 came to my job and was like, I'm looking for Hunkie Cooper, and I want to see if you wanted to play arena football. I said, man, I haven't trained to play football. I said, but he said, well, I said, you give me an opportunity to come to camp, and I'll come. So I showed up as an Arizona Rattler in 1993 as a 4th-string wide receiver. And by training camp, I was starting and went on to be the MVP of the 1993 season with over 1,400 yards receiving and in returns as a kick returner. And then God came into my life again and gave me an opportunity to go to the NFL and be with the Saints for a little while, man. But arena football was not only was I in arena football was in me, man. And it was a game that to play against guys like you and have a quarterback like Cedric Bonner and Paul Justin and Cedric Tillman and Calvin Schexnayder, and started to build his and then to work for a guy named Danny White and the Jerry Colangelo family who owns the Phoenix Suns, the Coyotes, and the Diamondbacks at that time were people I was around professionals, so I knew I had an opportunity. And so there's no wasted opportunities. The ones you miss on, somebody else capitalize on, and the ones that you take advantage of, you usually have success. And that's what happened, man. In '94, we ended up going to the Arena Football Championship against the Orlando Predators as an underdog, and we came in and we were able to win. And that started the career for.
So you kind of answered it. My next question was going to be like, when I guess first off, how was there any time between you said you were in Canada to when you played, when you first got introduced to arena football? Was it right after the season? Was there any time in between those time periods?
It was about 4 months. And it was about 4 months, and I went to work. Like I said, it was Gold Coast Hotel and Casino. I'll never forget. Michael Gaughan's the owner, and he's one of the donors and boosters at UNLV to this day. And
Mm-hmm.
but he was a guy that was about people and giving people opportunities. And I was there making good money. I'm part of the security team, and when Pete Catella gave me an opportunity, I showed up in the camp in Arizona, man, and I thought I was going to play quarterback, you know. And when I got there, they had, again, Paul Justin, who played ASU, played with the Indianapolis Colts. And I got there, man, they had guys that had played the year before me, and I just worked. I just put my head down and went to work, man. And but when we got out of camp, I was a starter, and that's what started me catching the ball off the net. And I got to find something to do. I got to bring something that nobody else could bring. And so
Mm-hmm.
I knew I could cover kicks. I did it in college. I knew I was a good punt and kick returner. I was an All-American 2 years in a row. I knew I could catch the football. I knew I could throw the football. So I'm like, my skill set is suitable for this game. Now I got to get my mindset. How many reps can I go? And at the time, we had offensive specialists, defensive specialists. And I was just an
Mm-hmm.
offensive specialist and just playing on offense. And I was like, no, man, I ain't just running down and let people hit me. I said, I need to find out how to get on both sides of the ball with that jack, you know. And I
Mm-hmm.
learned I learned the game really by watching a guy named Mike McDade, who actually went to UNLV, um, Osei Lewis, who was a tough offensive defensive lineman, and then George LaFrance. George
Mm-hmm.
LaFrance was a legend, man. I watched how his head bobbed when he go in high motion. I watched how he would plant his back foot on the baseline. I watched how he knew the angles of the football field, how to get down and never really get hit hard. And so I took that, and then I took Durwood Rockmore, how he played zone coverage versus man coverage. And then, Herky Walls. I watched Herky, how he came off the net. So I tried to take George and Herky and Durwood and build all this stuff into one player. And when you go back and look at those names, man, those are some dudes. Those are some
Mm-hmm.
dudes. And now before that became an Eddie Brown and then a Barry Wagner. So you got this big old guy that's 6'4" doing the same thing that I'm doing. I'm like, I gotta continue. So again, it goes back to these are some of the best players I had ever played against in the world, not just in arena football, in the world. And these guys
Mm-hmm.
had ability, and we couldn't have been playing for the money because it wasn't a lot of money. We played for the love of the game, and that's what made that game go and preserve it. And so for
Mm-hmm.
me to have an opportunity to come from a small town in East Texas with 15,000 people, mess my first junior college year up, go back to junior college, then come and get an opportunity to play at UNLV, go to CFL, come back. I just knew that I had to create a pathway, man, and I was able to do that. I was able to be, for 10 years I played 100 plays a game, and that's what I talk about. I wasn't the fastest, I wasn't the strongest, but
Mm-hmm.
nobody gonna out prepare me. I was gonna know, you know, when that jack was gonna tie up the tight end. I was gonna know in high motion if the ball was going to the boundary. I studied the jack box. I studied the referee's position. I would walk the fields like Orlando had the cutoff end zone. I would walk the
Mm-hmm.
fields and Sue who had 5 yards rather than 4 yards. So I took
Mm-hmm.
every advantage that I could, and I would give it. Our best pass rusher, put him to the boundary. Hey, I tell him it's a two-way go. I got you covered. So the more you understood the game and you understood the personnel that was in the game, we knew you and Sam Hernandez, you guys are going to rush the pass. You're going to get after people. And we knew we didn't have a lot of time. So that's why when we started high motion, we start throwing those quick screens and we start getting the ball out of our hands. And now what do? We build in the spy technique.
Mm-hmm.
So now you got a guy, the jacks on the front side of the box, you got the backside in spying to the boundary. So, okay, how do we go? Okay, now let's not do that. Now let's run bubble screens because you can't get the ball down the field. Now let's make this offensive lineman drive block and get this guy's hands down. So the
Mm-hmm.
game kept evolving. The game kept evolving, and I wanted to be on the cutting edge of the evolving game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been peeping like through the years, different things that the arena games evolved to, and even looking at it now and comparing it to back then, it's like, man, there's different things that you see. And I'm like, man, I just hope this game keeps growing because there's so much more. Granted, it's only so much you can do with this game, but there's different tweaks and different things that you can add that can do some good things in this game that I've
No doubt.
seen through the years. So kind of tell me about you know your times, championship game, like the motivation, to win the championship, the experience of being in the Arena Bowl and coming out, the results of the game, coming out a winner, things like that. Can you like kind of elaborate on that aspect?
Yeah, to be a champion, to be the best in the world at what you do is the hardest thing in the world. To be the very best at what you do, and with there being obstacles in the way, it was always San Jose. It was always Orlando Prairie. It was always the Tampa Bay Storm. And how do you overcome these guys? Because they got great players too. And so for me, man, it was what are we doing? We're a good football team, but what's going to make us better? So it was how long could we keep a team together? So with me, and I was not good without Bonner. Bonner was no good without me. And then we had Schexnayder. And if we brought everything that we had every single day, we would create the best opportunity to have success. And so that's why we stayed together for so long. I was offered more money to go to different places, but money, I'm not from money, and money was never a motivator. But to go into that game in 1997 and to play against the Iowa Barnstormers and Kurt Warner and Willis Jaycox and to win in front of 19,000 people at a sold-out American West Airline Arena was the ultimate goal of my life, man. To go in Orlando and as 94, I didn't really know the league. I just knew that you guys you ran everything. You guys come up with black limos. Everybody's getting dropped off, had their clothing, and we wasn't even on the ticket. That's what drove me for that game. We wasn't even on the ticket. And I said, this is about these guys. And they had tuxedos and everything, and it started raining. And when we came out, they wasted a lot of money because we were able to win that game, by a field goal. But in 97, now I know what it's about. NFL went there, came back, and now I know what this is all about. It's about preparation. It's about commitment to excellence. It's about getting, if it's a 12-yard route, run it 12 yards. If it's, it's about punt and kick return. That thing, man, the kick return, no punt return, but what can I do off this net? I know that's the best offensive play. That's the only play where we got matchups, where everybody's blocked. All I got to do is beat the kicker. And if I can't beat the kicker, I got to run over. And so you start looking back over all these years and all the time you put in. And we only had guaranteed 15, 16 tries. And so for me, man, the ultimate was to be the best in the world at what you do, to come out of that tunnel, people wearing your jersey, my kids there, and we were the first world champions. We were the first world champions in the state of Arizona in any sport. And before the Cardinals ever won a title, the Arizona Rattlers did. And but we didn't make $1 million, but we impacted 1 million lives. The way that we played the game, the way that we feel that stadium was about building relationships with people, building relationships in the community. It wasn't about us as players. It wasn't about me, because I'll take that, EJ. I'll take my MVPs, and I'll take my my Ironman trophies and all that. I'll give it all back for an opportunity to play an Arena Bowl. Not a guarantee to win it, but an opportunity, because when you win a world title, everybody's beneficial. You can be an all-pro and win one game. But it wasn't about that for me. It was about, I never wanted to let my teammates down. I prepared so hard, because if I'm going to check a play, I better be right. If I'm going to put a guy in a situation, I want to be right. And then, too, I learned how to be a good leader by being a good father. When I know who's double teaming me when I'm a bullet going down there, I'm going to eyeball one and I'm going to jump through the head of the other one. But if I die on this football field, I'm prepared to do it, because this is what we're riding for my family. But then, before the game, man, I was a complete person. But when I came out of that tunnel, I left everything that was good and decent in me in that locker room. And for that next hour, I was going to try to do anything I could in high motion, blocking you, pin and pull, whatever I could do for that next hour was to obliviate and take all the will the other opponent had. And then after that game, I'm going to go buy the first round of drinks. I'm going to go buy you dinner. But during that hour, I had to play at a certain way and have a certain attitude in order to have success. And so if you go back and you look at the way that I played the game, that number 14, I was playing for my father. I was playing for people that had impacted my life, because it wasn't about me. I hadn't done nothing. Everything that I had done was just committed to people that could. And then to play against guys like you, and again, Hunkie Cooper and Jay Gruden, and there was just so many talented people in that league that didn't get an opportunity. And Arena Football gave us an opportunity to display our talents and to be able to provide for our families, and I'm forever grateful for it.
Yeah, you was always an inspiration. Again, when I played, I wasn't the biggest talker, but I peeped a lot of players and how they approach the game. And man, you definitely was an inspiration.
Appreciate that, man. And I just watch how you guys inside moves, rushing the passer, man, and run down screens. And I'm like, damn, I mean, these dudes can't be running me down from. I'm like, that's effort, and that the best teams had the best team players.
Mm-hmm.
You could, like I
Yes.
said, be an individual and you can get individual awards, but it wasn't a lot of team success with that. But if you have team success, there's going to be a lot of individual awards. And
Mm-hmm.
the other thing that I really love, EJ, we cared about our community.
Yes.
We got out in our community and did reading week with kids, and we go to functions and we give tickets to come to our games, and it was always love, man, before and after the games. And we were the best of friends. We genuinely cared about each other. And when we started trying to change the name of our game, and then we started bringing in NFL teams, and I think we messed with a product. I remember when it came to me, I started the AFL POC, Arena Football League Players Organizing Committee, which meant that they couldn't lock us out and we couldn't strike. All I wanted was labor peace because I knew we had a great product, but I understood business too at an early age that these guys are used to signing the back of checks. They're not used to signing the front of checks. So you can ask all you want. If they're not making money, we're not going to have a league. So I researched all the right to work states like Florida, workers' compensation laws. I've done so much work because that was thousands of jobs. That's when we talked about league minimums at 2,500, and now you got guys making, when we were playing, I mean, 300,000, 400,000. That was good money. And now you look back over it, you wish you were making that money now. And so, but I look
Mm-hmm.
back over guys like you and Barry Wagner and Willis J. Cox and Cedric Bonner, Calvin Shake Snyder. I can go on and on. Teach. And I mean, it's just so many guys in that league. Jay Gruden and that made us who we were, and we genuinely cared about each other. Then they went on to the NFL to have success too. So I know that we were good players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a brotherhood, in the middle of a game, trying to tear each other's head off. But when we step off the field and you getting drinks with your competition, and y'all
Yeah.
kind of chopping it up and talking about, hey, they treating you good over there. All right,
Man,
you know what I mean. It's like you get deep into the personality off the field, but on the field, hey, we'll
yeah,
talk later.
no doubt. And the thing was, Arizona was a really, really good franchise. I mean, we had
Yeah.
everything we wanted, but I wanted everybody in the league to have what we had.
Mm-hmm.
And leaving his family. If he blows his knee out, he don't have insurance. Now he don't have a job and he can't get paid here. That's why I filed the antitrust lawsuit, was because if we signed a contract in '94, they had the option in '95. We don't have any options. And so then they would find you if you wouldn't go on the field. I said, all we want is fairness. All we want is, we want you to make money in the league. We want to be the best. We want to be in shape when we get here. You can't come to camp and not be in shape and expect to put a good product out there. So help us help you. But I wanted
Mm-hmm.
labor peace, and we got 10 years of labor peace, and James Barron and all those guys, and we were in Chicago. And how can we ask for what we want if we don't know what we want? But guys,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, James Barron, man, he was one of the spearheads of that thing, man, and he was a tough guy, man, and we got it right, and we had 10 years of labor peace. If you ever look at that, hockey struck that year, and we became fifth major sport. And those times, man, for me, will always be one of the most important times in my life, man. And again, to the friendship that you and I have, and that we all have right now still, man, as men, as fathers, and we still doing it now. We still in the game, and we still changing lives through the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely, definitely. So I want to play a video, and I want that kick return. That was part of your game. So I want you kind of, I had Moyer on here, earlier, and we were talking pass rush, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so kind of talk about what we're thinking when we're lining up and what the offensive lineman was giving us, and this is what we're looking for. I want you to kind of break down, you returning the kick when you're getting the ball. What are you thinking about, and what are you looking for, things like that. So I'll play this video real quick. Again, I just want you to kind of break down your thought process and what you're looking for.
Well, for me, I knew Mike Black was a guy that liked to try to get metal. He always tried to hit the rail. And I knew in Arizona, if it went above that bar. So my deal is, the first thing is, you got to trust your guys. It's like a good marriage. You got to trust those other seven guys. And so I knew
Mm-hmm.
when I catch the ball off the net, it's almost as if everything is closing right now. And if I make it through the first wave, I'm on the kicker. I trusted my guys. I knew there were going to be vertical seams in the kickoff return. Everybody tried to come down in one wave, but the first vertical seam, I'm going to attack it right there. That's the first vertical seam. And now I'm up on the kicker just like I thought I would. And if Mike Black tackled me, then I need to pay him. But I'm not going to let a kicker tackle me and not run over him or change the game. Because if you ever ran over a kicker, you change the game because we use them so much in the game. And so for me, it was always, as soon as I come off that net, my eyes are going right now to the vertical seam. And if I trusted my guys, I knew my guys knew I had good feel for it. Now, right now, boom, first vertical seam, I'm gone.
Yeah.
First vertical seam, and then I'm on the kicker. So now it's up to me. Those guys have done their jobs, so and that's just the way it was in practice too, so we simulate that. But Mike Black, man, and those guys, they were really, really good kickers. Now you get those kickers that kick it at the top of the net and they pounce way back to midfield. You have to have courage, and I was courageous back there. And it was just that's the best offensive play in football right now is a kick return with the body on the body, and I got 40 yards to run to be the kicker. So that's what it was.
Okay, so talking about elevate your, the game kind of changing a little bit. Nowadays we got what they call the deuce now. So still everything else is the same, but if the kicker hits it through the goalpost, splits it down the middle like a field goal, that's 2 points. And that kind of change the game a little bit because now it adds more value for the kicker, and that is kind of a backbreaker to a team. If you're down by like 1 point, 2 points, and the other team just scored, now it's a tie game, or it's score and you're up by, or the other team's up by like 1, and then you hit the deuce, and I'd have seen that kind of break teams down. So what do you kind of think about the game change and adding that to the mix?
I'm old school, man. I like the jack in the box until the tight end or the fullback is out of the box. I like one man blitzing. I like the game the way we had it. And you look at Bo Kelly running the ball. You running pin and pull and you know it's coming. I like when you got double pinch and nobody can scrape outside. You can scrape, but you can't rush outside. I like the game the way that we had it because now it takes away the strategies. You play the ball off and you get here. Now we got to kick it, try to hit iron, or you got onside kick it with the pop up, and you take the physicality out of the game. If you think about it, change of possession was the biggest part of that game. And so we used to try to steal a possession before half. We used to try to steal a possession at the change of the quarter. It's like the middle late in college football right now. If you can score going in and stop the other opponents from scoring, and then you can come out and score, that's when you put the game away. Arena football is about possessions. It's about possessions and about points. So I think for a guy to be able to kick and get 2 points rather than having a 1 minute timing rule and try to go down the field and score, and I think you take the excitement out of the game. And so for me, I'm gonna always be old school in the way that we played it, because all the records that they're breaking now would never be broken with the players that we played. Now I want the game to always evolve. I can see 2 guys going in motion, but the box is the box. The box is a, you know what I mean? Like, how do you think Kurt Warner became such a really, really good passer? I knew that hitting Kurt didn't hurt him, but pressure at his feet made him alter his throws. So we didn't have to get home with Kurt. But if you just sit back in zone against him, you ask him to get killed. So for me, knowing your opponents is taken away. I knew 10 out of 10 times on first down with the tight end to the boundary, they slide to the field. I knew every first down within the first down, midfield, here comes screen, so I'm tying up the tight end because here comes double release. You take away the strategies of the game when you start to add something that favors the offense or the defense. We had 2 defensive specialists. Think about it, okay? If you have a defensive specialist, he get hurt the first play of the game, and now you got a guy that's got to play the rest of the game. He goes in for 1 play, he gets hurt that 1 play, and you already played. Think about it. Our quarters used to be like this. Okay, I return a kick for a touchdown. I go down and cover a kick. Okay, now I return another kick, play 8 plays on offense. Then, okay, PAT extra field, extra point. Then I go down, cover kick, play 8 plays on defense, and it's 7 minutes to go in the quarter. You don't get to see the versatility anymore. So it's not the game that we had, which was an amazing game. And I love these guys for trying to do it. And then too, we had our own, we had AF2. So the guys, when they got to AF1, it was a big deal for them. Now you have the football league, you have teams that are changing rules. And now when I see Cedric Walker and I see Cedric Bonner win the championship, I know it's legit because they know the game. When I see Jacksonville Sharks and Cy Burley, when I see the Orlando Predators, I know it's a legitimate game because guys that played the game and made the game what it was are now teaching the game. And that's like me as a father. My son is making $35,000 a month as a college football coach at Oregon State University. He's 29, but he's a student of the game. You know what I mean? Been around football his whole life, and so I think it takes people that play the game to teach the game, the way the etiquette with it, the attitude. I remember Daryl Walkmore at halftime be smoking a cigarette. Like, man, how this man can cover me and he's smoking a cigarette at halftime? But he knew the game. He didn't need to chase me because he knew where I was running to. He knew the angles, and they had spent so much time. If you think about this, and our film system wasn't the best back then. We had VHS and doing everything we had to do. But the attention to detail and the preparation, practicing in parking lots, putting screws down to hold the field down, different turf. You got that metal bar. They don't have metal bars now. You ain't got to play off the bars. So, but again, man, I think the game, and when we played it, I think that was the greatest generation of arena football. From 2000, I say from 1991 to 2008 was the best arena football in the history of the game. But the guys that played it before us and the guys that played it beyond us have to know the history of it, have to know where the game came from and what the game went through and where the game is going to in order to protect the game.
Definitely. Yeah, that's like I said, that's one of the reasons for me starting this podcast, and getting out of my element now. I'm talking more, but it's about the passion of this game. I want everybody's story to be told and everybody to understand, people's story that kind of helped build this game. This ain't just something that you just kind of you woke up and you did. Man, there's been years of blood, sweat, and tears put into this thing, and I want that to be known.
Yeah, matter of fact, two of my players, a receiver from San Diego State and a D lineman from here, are both playing up at Flagstaff. They sent pictures last night of Cedric Bonner, Cy Burley, and myself on player cards, and that for me is everything, because so that's for me. So everywhere I wore number 14 is hanging in the rafters because I gave everything I could, but not only for my franchise, for San Jose SaberCats, for the Las Vegas Gladiators, who became the Las Vegas Sting, for the Portland. I look at Aronde Gadsden's son playing at Syracuse this year. I get to coach against him. His dad was a beast down with Miami. I look at Jim Jensen that played. I go back. It's so many good players that played in this game that the NFL missed on, but the Arena Football League capitalized on, and I'm forever grateful for that, man. And it's crazy now. I'm looking at Raymond Field, y'all. He got a son right now that's getting ready to play college football, and so you go back to relationships. T.T. Tolliver.
Yep.
Come on, man. I played against Johnny Harris and those guys, but you always knew it was going to be the Tampa Bay Storm and Orlando Predators, the war on I-4. You always knew it was going to be San Jose SaberCats and Arizona Rattlers, and then you always knew it was going to be the Milwaukee Mustangs or the Grand Rapids Rampage and Detroit Drive. Those teams were going to always be, and Chicago Rush at that too. It was going to always be some teams, and they all came from guys that Mike Hohensee and guys that had, look at Kevin Guy. Kevin Guy is the guy that runs the league now. He has 2 or 3 different teams. He's at San Jose with Cleavon Thomas. He was the one that started catching high motion.
Yeah.
And tell Barry he got all them awards because Cleavon was catching that high motion. They was throwing it up to him. Eddie Brown, man, it was two Eddie Browns, you know what I mean? It was just so much talent, man. And I'm just, again, grateful for our relationship, man, our friendship, and for you starting this podcast, because with my jerseys, my grandkids wear them now. They don't know the history of it, but, they go on YouTube and they look at videos and like, Papa, that was you in the big old shoulder? Yeah, that was Papa. And but I know one thing. I played the game one way. I played to magnify our league, and I hope that I did my best to be a professional and promote our game, and that's all that I care about. It wasn't about winning and losing; it was about winning and learning. And to play in the 5 titles in 15 years, and to be able to win one is God sent, but to be able to win 2 is even better, man. But like I said, I would give back every MVP ring. I would give back the checks. I would give back the Ironman rings and everything in the checks just for an opportunity to play, because it gave us a greater chance to magnify everybody, not just focus on me.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So, kind of talk about your transition from when you got done playing to now. I know you did a little bit of coaching and things like that. Kind of talk about that transition.
Yeah, so when I finished playing, man, I went in 2005. I retired. 2005, Danny White and we went down, and I wanted to build a team from the ground up. So I went down. We started the Utah Blaze Arena football team, and so now I'm not on the football field now. Now I'm on the business side. Now a guy's asking for a raise, and now I'm trying to be under the salary cap. Now I know what I went through some of these guys I played with. Now I'm on the business side. Now I know I'm gonna have to cut a guy, take his insurance and benefits, and I can't tell him. So it became a catch-22, man. And this is a guy that ran around on the field. His kids ran around with my kids, and I played with this guy. I caught balls from him, and now he's making $150,000 as a quarterback, and I'm making $40,000 as the coach. So but the love of the game. You brought him to Utah because you know what he brings. He's a leader. He's going to make our team better. He's going to make us competitive. He's going to be a constant professional. And that's what you need to build a team. And so we did that with Cy Burley and with Joe Germain and Tom Pace and Shawante Bryan. We took all those guys down there. And then about the third year that I've been offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, special teams coordinator, I decided it was time for me to go home and to remove myself from under Danny, who had mentored me and helped me raise my kids. And I got back in the 11-man football game. So I came home. I lost my father at 14, I told you. And my son was going to be 14, my youngest son. And so I took over a high school program here in Las Vegas called Canyon Springs Leadership Along Prep Academy, largest inner city school in the state of Nevada. And we took a program that wasn't having a lot of success. Academically, we had a 1.9 GPA. We finished in my 7 years as a head coach with a 3.25, 100% graduation, 100% college placement. Got coach of the year 4 or 5 times. Year one a couple times, man. We graduated 100% of our kids, and I was able to coach kids like Jerron Cron. DeMarco Murray is one of my kids. We were able to really, really have a lot of success, not only athletically but academically, and that was the main thing for me. We were in a big neighborhood that a lot of people didn't believe in what the kids were doing in that area, and we were able to go in and support those kids academically, and took SAT scores from 840 to 1240. We took ACT scores from 14 to 24. We were able to get kids to college that first generation kids, and now they're circuit court judges, and they're second lieutenants in the military, and they are professional coaches, and they're collegiate coaches. And so for me, man, the mental toughness, the accountability, the trust, the humility, and everything that the game teaches you, you share. And now those guys are coaching. And so there's now, and it's like, when they bring their kids over to campus and I get to show them the facility, and we get to talk about, how the game has evolved. And so for me, but now it's about, back in our day, it was about NLI, National Letter of Intent. That meant my mom and my dad don't have to pay no money for me to go to college because I can run fast and jump high, and I could do my schoolwork. Now it's about NIL, your name, your image, your likeness. And I've always believed this, is that you either represent or you misrepresent yourself. Point blank period. There's no gray area. And so when it's your name on it, if you go in 95 in a 55 miles an hour school zone and you run over somebody's kid, that's your name. Your image is your logo, your brand. It's like Levi's, it's like Mercedes, it's like Nike. If you tarnish it, you can't get it back. And then your likeness, and it's what do I stand for? Who am I? What am I? Am I willing to misrepresent? Am I willing to market something that doesn't represent me, or am I willing to go out and do something with Salvation Army, with all St. Jude's Hospital? So just teaching these kids, giving them the tools to be successful, because as a college football coach, I have about 1,700 days to set you up the next 50 years of your life. And the one thing I learned in the process is this: if you don't love the people, you can't lead the people. If I don't love these kids, and they know it, it's genuine, I can't lead them. And when you get, and there's gonna be times when you have to really get in their butt and get on them, but you better tell them what they did was wrong, why it was wrong, and then you love them up and tell them why you did it for them. And that you don't ever want that relationship to come to a point to where you and that kid, you facing up with a kid. You want to always let him know what he done was wrong, why it was wrong, and this is how you handle it moving forward, man. And that's how you build men. And so now, my mother told me a long time ago, the things you do for others do for yourself, die and go to the grave with. But the things you do for others to create a legacy that you cannot live. And I'm in those days right now. Naming football fields after me. I'm in the Southern Nevada Sports Hall of Fame, Arena Football Hall of Fame, Junior College Hall of Fame, UNLV Hall of Fame. And all that means is this: I had good roommates, I had good teammates, and I had a good soulmate. It had nothing to do with me. It was about everybody else. It ain't never been about Hunkie Cooper. It's been about people that came into my life to help save my life. And if I had $100 million, I could repay them, so I have to serve. And this is my river, man. Football is just my river. It's where we go in this inner city, we get the most talented kids, but that's where the most issues lie. So am I willing to sacrifice myself and everything I stand for to give this kid an opportunity to have the same life that I've had through this game?
Mm-hmm. So kind of, we're talking about your story. Can you just mention, I guess, the role that you hold currently?
Okay. The role that I hold currently right now, I am assistant athletic director and the director of football player development, community engagement, and NFL liaison. And that covers everything on the college campus. So I'm at all the different sports. I went to watch women's softball yesterday and men's baseball. Okay. I'm at football practice. I work with alumni base. Guys, Keenan McCarter was just here for my pro day. I just ran a pro day 3 days ago. And, you know, and so I'm the pro liaison. So I talk about the kids and what they bring and the abilities that they have. And I'm honest with them because all they're coming to do is validate. Can this kid play on the next level? Is he a practice squad kid? Is he a CFL? Is he a UFL kid? And what kind of character does he have? And so I get to replay everything in those 15 to 1,700 days I talked about to a scout that's willing to take a chance on you. But the game has been too good to me for me to be misleading on you. And so I get to recruit. I was able to recruit LA and Texas and Oakland and go out and get kids that had talent and ability and give them opportunity to display it on the national stage. It's here in Las Vegas. I think it's becoming the sports capital of the world, and it's no greater time right now than to capitalize on what's coming here. We have Major League Baseball. The Oakland A's are coming here now. It's going to be Las Vegas Athletics. We already have minor league baseball. We have the Las Vegas Aces, who won a world title. We have the Golden Knights, who has won a world title. We have the Nighthawks. This is arena football team, and the team that we had won with Larry Johnson and Stacey Ogden with 91 with the basketball team. My women's basketball team is in the top 25. The Pac-12 championships are here, and UNLV football in the last 25 months has been in the top 25 and won 20 football games. And we're the program that's been here the longest. So we want to continue to do it the right way with the right people. We want to continue to grow this community and be a part of this community, but we want to continue to enhance lives and build relationships through a game, because the game is going to be over, but life and relationships will take you as far as you fertilize those relationships.
Definitely. So I don't want to, hold you up too much longer, but, kind of in closing, is there any advice you have for, the next generation coming up, guys who are playing now? I know you got into, part of the philosophies and things like that, but just in closing, any advice for those guys?
Yeah, in closing, the one thing I want to tell young people is learn from our experience, the people that have done it before you. Don't learn from yourself, your own experience. If we're willing to share our experience with you and the hardships and everything that we went through, and we're still able to talk to you about it, we have nothing to gain by misinforming you. Listen to us, learn from our experience, man. And then we always say this: if I knew then what I know now, we do know then what we know now, but we can't do it. So as we have a responsibility to give it to you, but you have a responsibility also to accept it and to learn it, and then more than anything, you have to apply it.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate it. So again, I appreciate you. Appreciate you coming on and sharing your story and kind of talking about your philosophies and all that stuff and giving advice. And again, I appreciate you even just being available for me if I need to reach out to you. I got questions on stuff. So, but again, man, just appreciate you, and you've been an inspiration for me through the years. So,
man, all love, man. You likewise, man. A lot of you guys didn't know y'all thought I was impacting y'all lives. Y'all was impacting my life, man, and I'm forever grateful for it, brother. If there's anything I could ever do, man, any shape, form, or fashion, reach out, man. And I appreciate what you're doing with arena football and just with the platform to express our feelings and our gratitude. And I'm grateful for you having me on, man. And I hope this thing takes off and become a really big item for you.
Definitely. I appreciate it. So, but yeah, I don't want to hold you up any longer. But again, thank you for being on and, signing off, and make sure you have a good night.
Bless, man. One love.
All right.